For a hot minute, home buyers who also happen to be veterans were truly at risk of being left behind as the real estate industry has been going through some major shakeups and changes that are being implemented this year. But here is what the VA is doing to temporarily alleviate those concerns for veteran home buyers. The concern over veteran buyers remaining competitive in the real estate market amidst the pending changes in how real estate professionals are paid is, at least for now, being temporarily taken care of. In case you've seen headlines, or maybe you have no idea what I'm talking about, the real estate industry is going through a lot of changes this year, and many of those changes are going to be implemented this August. These changes that are coming are happening nationally, and they have to do with some different requirements. What's going to be required now for buyers is a BBA, or buyer's broker agreement. The other change that's happening is compensation for agents is no longer allowed to be advertised on the MLS. So where that comes in for veterans is if a veteran is buying a house, legally they were not allowed to offer any compensation whatsoever for their buyer's agent. But as we go into this new season where sellers may or may not be offering compensation, something had to change so that VA buyers didn't get left behind. Prior to the announcement in June, where the VA addressed that they were going to try to come up with some sort of solution, any veteran who wanted to take advantage of their VA loan benefits could not pay any buyer broker fees if they wanted to use their VA loan. And this is according to a Florida Realtors article from Amy Connolly. That restriction has been temporarily lifted. The Department of Veteran Affairs recently released a circular detailing the changes. VA is announcing a temporary local variance that will allow veterans to pay for certain buyer broker charges. The USB, Undersecretary for Benefits, has determined this temporary variance is appropriate to ensure veterans remain competitive buyers in the rapidly shifting real estate brokerage market. Okay, hang on. Before you get super mad and rage and are just irate at the fact that you might have to pay more money, let me give you some background so that you can have context to make an informed decision. In layman's terms, compensation for realtors has never been set by law, it's always been negotiable, and it varies from transaction to transaction. However, with the recent lawsuit and the court ruling, the way that agents are being paid is gonna start shifting. So as of August, what's gonna happen for buyers, all buyers, VA or otherwise, is before you're even allowed to go see a house with an agent, you're gonna have to sign a buyer broker agreement. This agreement is going to detail what to expect from your agent, what they can expect from you, and how they are compensated. This type of transparency is going to let you know ahead of time if you're going to see a house and that owner has decided to either offer compensation to the buyer's side or not. You're going to know that ahead of time. What's changing is the fact that there's going to be better communication between realtors and their customers. What's not changing is the fact that the amount of compensation has always been completely negotiable and never set by law. As this new ruling unfolds and the likelihood of buyers offering some, if not all, of the compensation to their agent becomes more common, the rule of the VA not allowing a buyer to compensate their agent would have put veteran buyers at a distinct disadvantage in this market. The new temporary change from the VA is going to allow VA buyers to remain on the same equal footing as other buyers and consumers. The circular stated, VA is authorizing a temporary local variance that allows veterans to pay reasonable and customary amounts for any buyer broker charges. This change goes into effect August 10th of 2024 and will bridge the gap until a more permanent policy can be written. Because the circumstance of a buyer potentially compensating their broker for the sale of a home, the likelihood that buyers are going to be putting forth some of the compensation for their agent representation is going to become more common. So what the VA has done is they have actually issued a list of specific guidelines for those veteran buyers who are looking at seeking a loan with VA benefits, but may also be in a situation where they have to come up with some compensation for their agent representation. The Department of Veteran Affairs stated, the home the veteran is purchasing is in an area where listing brokers are prohibited from setting buyer-broker compensation through multiple listing postings, or buyer-broker compensation cannot be established by or flow through the listing broker. The buyer-broker charges are not included in the loan amount. Buyer-broker charges paid or to be paid by a veteran buyer are to be considered in determining whether the veteran has sufficient liquid assets to close the loan. An invoice is not necessary to support the buyer-broker charge. However, the total amount paid, if any, by the veteran is to be recorded in lines 1 through 3 of Section H of the closing disclosure. And VA considers the buyer-broker representation agreement to be part of the sales contract package. As such, VA expects lenders to upload the agreement as part of the package lenders use when requesting an appraisal. Essentially, the veteran buyer who's taking advantage of their VA loan benefits is now allowed to compensate their broker if the property is listed without compensation, or if the seller is not offering or is not willing to offer compensation to the buyer's side. The amount of compensation that the veteran could pay is going to become part of the loan process to ensure that they have the funds for closing costs, down payment, and the compensation if it's needed. Buyer-broker agreements, or BBAs, are going to become mandatory in our industry this August. And therefore, the VA is going to require the BBA be included as a document with all the paperwork and the contract to make sure that the compensation is documented. Real estate changes all of the time. This most recent change, it's a big one. But just like recessions, global pandemics, we are going to prevail. We're going to pivot, we're going to figure it out, and we will press onward. And we're going to get through it. What is important is that right now, the VA is not leaving veterans behind. This temporary variance is going to ensure that VA buyers have the same opportunity as other buyers. And that is the very least we can do for those who have served our country. Just remember, this is all new. It's new for the industry, which means that brokers, lenders, agents, we're all figuring it out as we go. And for consumers, it's gonna be a new process. But I promise, I've got you. Buyer-broker agreements are about to become an industry standard. And if you have no idea what that is, or you haven't seen one yet, I've got BBA 101. It's gonna make you feel a lot more comfortable. I'm Lindsey Johnson, your resource for all things real estate. See you next time.